What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of my College Hoops 2K8 gameplay. This is it. We've gotten to a point where the season is finally over. Now, you might say, we got a couple games left. But we've gotten to a point where we have played all the games we are eligible to play this season, so every other game has to be simulated. Yes, that means the rest of the season. That means the conference tournament. And that also means the NCAA tournament because they did not make it in real life. So, without further ado, grab your snacks, sit back. We're going to start out by recapping some of our biggest games of the year. A few games, just to say a few words, just to do a little recap, just because I thought it was important, you know what I'm saying? We had a good year. This was a game that started our season. We went up against Notre Dame in a sim, and we got smacked. We lost 83-61. Jay had a good game. This is when I felt like he could be what I needed him to be during the season, you know what I'm saying? He had 9 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. Nobody else really stood out to me, really. But this is a game against a top 25 school. So they did okay. They played well, but on the other side, Luke Herringody has 35 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks. What are we going to do with that? We got an All-American center going up against LIU. You get what you get. You get a double-double, 4 blocks, dominating on both sides of the ball. Nobody else really stood out and did anything, but you get what you get. But speaking of Sims, this was the biggest surprise of the year. I can't even lie. I did not expect to win this game. I'm not going to complain, but I was not expecting it. And our guys showed up. A near double-double from Jay. Yeah, 8 points, 12 assists, 14 points from Wicks. Coda Robot checked out, and he fouled out. 18 and 11 from Manigault. Solid game. 12 and 7 from Kellen Allen. He did okay. He was in foul trouble too, though. 22 points off the bench from Madison. That was my first sign that he was our version of Jamal Crawford. I was like, whoever this dude is, whenever he gets into the game, he's electric. Instant offense off the bench, whether he's coming in at the point or he's coming in at the 2, he's scoring. And then we also got 8 and 11 from Forbes, which is crazy. He did all of that in 14 minutes. Solid performance. It's not what you expect. Now, if you look on their side, Norm Roberts is trying to get fired. That's what I think. Because you're bugging. I said it when I made the video. I'm saying it now. At the end of the season, he's bugging out. I don't know what he was thinking. Dude, like, come on, son. Your starters only gave you 20 points. You got 3 of your starters in foul trouble. You got to make changes. I think that loss is on coaching. Once again, like I said, I'm not complaining. I'll take the win. Moving on to our next big game. I thought that this game was a big one. It was our very first tournament. We also went up against a top 10 scorer as well. And we did our thing. We wound up winning the game. We actually played this game. Jay had 21 and 5. Kellen Allen was going crazy. He had 16 points, 22 boards. If you watch that Wrath of the Titan episode, he was grabbing every board he possibly could. And he was doing it against a solid center on the other side. If I'm not mistaken, Lima was a 7-footer. That's not easy to do. Kellen Allen, 6'8", only had 2 fouls as well. 22 rebounds in 26 minutes. That's a crazy output. On their side, like I said, Josh Okoye, top 10 scorer. He only had 15. He had a decent game. He came out hot. We had to make some adjustments. Then that's when you started to see Robinson score more. But I would rather him score than a top 10 scorer get hot and start going crazy because Josh Okoye did make it to the NBA. So you got to be cognizant of what you're doing. Solid game. Lima only had 5 boards. That's tough. That shows you how good of a job Kellen Allen was doing that game. He was going crazy. I'm glad we played that game, and I'm glad we won. Moving on to our game in the championship of that tournament against St. Mary's. Another game I didn't expect to win because we simmed it. We got lucky. Our bench showed up. Kellen Allen showed up as well, but our bench showed up. 16 points from Madison, 14 points from Forbes, 10 points from Moore Kelly Eunice. Manigault gave us 13 rebounds and not much else. Kellen Allen made up for the points that Manigault didn't have. So I guess if you put them together, that's a solid game. 20 and 18 between the two of them. That's solid. Still got beef with Patty Mills though. Against Howard, you don't want to show up, right? You play us, you want to go crazy. He almost gave us 30, but we won, so I can't be too mad. Gotta chill. Simpson had a double-double with 11 and 11. Sam Hahn, I believe that's how you say his last name. If I am saying it wrong, delete your comment. 8 points, 10 rebounds. It's a solid game. Moving back into real time, we had a game against Robert Morris that we had to sim, and with that win, we are the regular season conference champions, and we also get another attribute point. And for me, that's why we're here. You want to get as many attribute points as possible. That way you can improve your coach, improve your team. In that game against Robert Morris, they didn't have a real standout to me. Jackson had 13 points. That's about it. The guy that we know from their team, Tony Lee, he's the conference leader in steals. He only had 1 steal and he fouled out. So boo, you didn't do your thing. Let's keep it moving. Jay has 16, 8 and 5. He also had 3 steals. I'm gonna ignore the fact that he got 6 turnovers, so I'm gonna kind of whisper that a little bit just so that you guys don't hear it or see it. Coda Robot had 16 points. Madison had 20 off the bench, doing exactly what we needed him to do. You can always count on Madison to give us what we need off the bench. He had 12 free throws. So my man was getting to the cup with ease, getting fouled. That's what we need. Moving on to our conference tournament. Good had 11 points and 8 assists. And then Van also added in 14 points. After that, you don't really see a standout. It's a solid team game. You see a couple guys in foul trouble. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Moving on to our side, you see a monster game from Manigault. 27 points, 15 rebounds, 4 steals. Then you see who we have in foul trouble. You got Jay, got Kodorobai, and you got Madison. So that means our best bench player, our starting point guard, and our leading scorer were all in foul trouble. And we only lost that game by 2. If we had a chance to be in game, could have made some adjustments, but the sim is the sim. You got to take it for what it is.
Now let's take a look at the NCAA Tournament bubble and see which teams are sitting at home with their fingers crossed, hoping to see their name in the brackets. There are a lot of worthy candidates among these 10 teams, Clark. Which of these bubble teams stands out to you right now?
Colorado should be considered among the best of the major conference teams not holding an automatic bid. But there are plenty of non-power conference teams knocking on the door that may prevent them from getting an invitation.
And we have a few more teams in similar position, right, Clark?
Missouri State can take comfort in the fact that there have been so many great showings by non-power conference schools in the tournament in the past few years. The committee has really warmed up to those conferences.
The Pittsburgh Panthers are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. On to the second #1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The Memphis Tigers are seeking their first ever NCAA championship. The Louisville Cardinals are our third #1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our fourth #1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Kansas Jayhawks are in the tournament field as a #1 seed for the 7th time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the #1 seeds have been assigned. And now the #6 seed, the Long Island Blackbirds, come into the tournament first in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the #11 seed, the LSU Tigers, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 20-12. Now, let's see how the conference representation fares. The SEC gets 7 teams, the Big East with 6 out of the ACC. The A-10 gets 4 teams.
What a down year for the non-power conferences. We're used to seeing at least one of those conferences compete on the level of the power conferences, but not this year.
And let's not forget the teams out of the Northeast Conference. For a small conference, they competed at a very high level this year. Those teams could be the place to look if you're trying to find a Cinderella story in the tournament. Thanks, Clark. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, it's going to be a fantastic tournament. We've got an outstanding field and a lot of sensational players. I guarantee there are some memorable moments soon to come.
Now we can have some fun. We're on the other side of the NCAA tournament now. We got smacked. We wound up losing to LSU 108-71. We got smacked. But multiple NBA guys on this team. Garrett Temple, NBA. Marcus Thornton, NBA. Anthony Randolph, NBA. Chris Johnson, NBA. Y'all can get the theme at this point. NBA dudes. We're LIU. You get what you get. You get 11 and 12 from Garrett Temple, 13 points from Marcus Thornton, 24 points from, I don't know this. All right, man, I went ahead and got it, man. His name is Terry Barton, all right? He had 24 points, so we got to know the name. We can't just sit here and say we don't know the brother's name. He had 24 points, 26 and 10 from Anthony Randolph, 12 and 9 from Chris Johnson. We got smacked, and rightfully so. You got 4 NBA dudes in your starting 5. What do you expect? There are 0 NBA prospects on our team. Some of these guys can't even spell NBA, but we got 20 points from Gene, 20 and 7, solid. Got 12 points from Kellen Allen, 12 points from Madison off the bench. You got a so-so game from Jay. He had 8 and 8, but he's going up against NBA dudes. What do you expect? Not as talented as the guys he's playing. He did his thing. It is what it is. But we can't be the only people getting smacked, all right? Mount St. Mary's got smacked 113-70. It's always Mount St. Mary's in these names. I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to try. He had 25 points. He did his thing. Nobody else did, though. As you can see, nobody else hit double digits. Nobody went crazy on the boards. Nobody had a bunch of assists. However, on the other side, UNC went crazy. Todd Lawson had 11 and 7. Wayne Ellington had 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. Danny Green had 11 points. He had an okay game, but he was in foul trouble. Tyler Hansborough had 32. That's how you lose the game. He only had 4 rebounds? That's kind of crazy. Deion Thompson, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. You lose. What do you expect? We couldn't be the only one. I wasn't letting that happen. Y'all not about to laugh at us and not laugh at nobody else. That's not happening. Moving over to the NIT Championship game, Notre Dame beat George Mason 84-83. Gotta highlight both games. What I found to be weird is this is a very, very close game. Jordan Carter had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Valarian Campbell had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. They both had 3 steals, and then they got 13 points off the bench from J3. He also had 4 steals. If you look on the other side, you can see why the game was was so close. No Luke Herringody. He was hurt. So the rest of his team had to step up. Cal McElharney, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Jackson, 11 points, 9 assists. You got 22 and 7 from Kurz. You had 11 points from Ayers. Team effort without their star player. If they have Luke Herringody, y'all saw what he did to us. Gets a little scary if you got that man on the court. He gave us 35. He might have gave them about 25 and 10. He was averaging about 22 and 10, so he probably would have gave them the same thing. Moving on to some of the upsets in the NCAA tournament. Illinois, y'all showed up at the right time. They beat FSU 77-66. That Cinderella story ended pretty quick. Y'all might have messed up a few brackets. Also, if you're paying attention, Georgetown got smacked by Pittsburgh. Jesus Christ. 86-55? Y'all in the same conference. My God. This was a nice surprise. Dayton going up against Colorado. You got an 11 seed going up against a 10 seed. So that means a couple teams got upset on the way. Dayton wound up beating Washington State in the first round, and then they beat Michigan State 73-62. Colorado wound up beating NC State in the 7-10 matchup. Then they beat UNLV 71-59. Colorado went on to beat Dayton. Then it got spooky for them too. East Tennessee State, they came to play for one night though. One night only. They beat Utah State 69-65. And then Clemson said, hey, let's go ahead and stop this nonsense. No mas, no more, no mas. They wound up beating East Tennessee State 84-75. But they messed up a couple brackets. Now this is where it get a little shaky to me. Stanford beating Mississippi State is not really an upset. Or at least not to me. It's a power conference school and they have the Lopez twins. Both NBA guys. They beat Mississippi State 82-74. Then they went ahead and beat Tennessee 78-50. A team with Chris Lofton, Wayne Chisholm, Duke Cruz, Ramar Smith. They beat them 78-50. And then they gave Kentucky a run for their money, but Kentucky, go Big Blue, wound up doing their thing and beating them 78-69. Moving on to the Midwest Regional. Y'all already know who this is. Steph went crazy, of course. They wound up beating Drake 100-97. Then they ran into West Virginia. Bob Huggins is not having it. They almost won, almost pulled off another upset, but defensively, Bob Huggins teams are too good. If you go and look at any Bob Huggins coach team in your legacy mode, they're going to play defense. They're going to figure out a way to win. And as you can see, they went ahead and beat Davidson 79-74. Then they went ahead and upset Louisville 102-81. You're dubbing somebody in the Sweet 16. Moving right along to another team in the Midwest Regional, Cal. They went ahead and beat Vandy by 30. That's tough. They're not playing Jerome Randall, Ryan Anderson. Don't make me say any more names, please, because I can't think of any. Wound up beating Vanderbilt by 30. Then they went ahead and beat Miami 77-61. Then UConn said they had enough. And I don't care how bad Duke is. Duke is never counting as an upset to me. They're coached by Coach K. That's not an upset. Come on. They beat Fordham, son. Come on. Y'all just had a rough year. And then UConn went ahead and canceled all that. Duke, y'all lose. Cal, y'all lose. And that's all the broken brackets. It's everything that we didn't expect to see that we did see. Moving right along to the Final Four. We got 2 number 1 seed matchups on one side, 2 2 seed matchups on the other side. If you're trying to make your own Final Four, this is something that you would expect. You got Pittsburgh and Kansas on one side, UConn and UNC on the other. Let's get into the games. Pittsburgh wound up beating Kansas 96-79. Mario Chalmers had 16 points. Brendan Rush had 13 and 8. Darnell Jackson had 10 and 7. Roderick Stewart had 15 off the bench. Cole Aldridge only got 10 minutes of play, but he had 7 points. On the other side, LaVance Fields had 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists. Mike Cook had 21 points. Sam Young had 24 and 8. And DeJuan Blair had a very uncharacteristic game. Got in foul trouble, so he only played 13 minutes, but he had 4 blocks, 2 points, and 3 rebounds. It's not gonna cut it. Moving on to the game between UConn and UNC. UNC won that game 86-79. AJ Price had 20 points and 9 assists. Jerome Dyson had 12 points and 7 assists. Stanley Robinson had 13 points and 7 rebounds. Hasheem Thabit, where were you at? He went 2 for 12 from the field. My man, you're underneath the basket. I mean, you're 7-2, 7-3. Come on, dude. What are you doing? And he fouled out. And I don't even gotta see the other screen. I can tell you why. Tyler Hansborough had 30 points and 12 rebounds. That'll do it. And he had 10 free throws. That will do it. Ty Lawson added 12 points. Wayne Ellington had 18 points and 6 rebounds. Danny Green had more playing time, had 15 points. That's all you need. Moving on to the national championship game. UNC versus Pittsburgh. 1 seed against a 2 seed. Pittsburgh came out on top. Pause. Won the game 74-71. Ty Lawson had 13 and 5. Wayne Ellington had 14 points. They found a way to make Tyler Hansborough have a rough game. He got in foul trouble. He still played 30 minutes, but he only had 11 and 7. Deion Thompson only had 8 and 4. No real standouts. Going on the other side, LaVance Fields had 11 points and 4 assists. Mike Cook had 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. A double-double from Sam Young with 12 points and 11 rebounds, even though he didn't shoot that well. DeJuan Blair had a good game in the championship. Going through all our season awards, y'all already know. Pittsburgh is a national champion. OJ Mayo is the player of the year. If you played high school basketball while OJ Mayo was in high school, you know how good of a player he is. So to see him win player of the year, I'm loving that. 28 points a game, 6 rebounds, almost 4 assists. Also added in 2 steals. Mid-major player of the year is going to be Steph Curry. And you're not going to get a fight from me on this one. This all checks out. 33 points a game. What more you want me to say? Moving on to coach of the year, Jamie Dixon. Makes all the sense in the world. #1 seed in the tournament, national champion. It all checks out. Defensive player of the year is going to be Jason Thompson. Another NBA guy, not surprised. 22.5 points per game, 12.6 rebounds. Add a steal in there. Also give him 2.3 blocks. That's a recipe for defensive player of the year. I'm trying to do the same thing at some point. You feel me? Big man of the year shouldn't be a surprise. Tyler Hansborough, best power forward in college basketball. Averaged 25.6 points per game, 9.7 rebounds. Him and Jason Thompson were probably #1 and #2. Probably was a very close race. I can see how Tyler Hansborough gets the nod. Better team, better competition, and he almost won a championship. Freshman of the year, there's absolutely no surprise. For your first team All-Americans, you have DJ Augustine, OJ Mayo, CDR, Tyler Hansborough, and Luke Herringold. Now, you're gonna be surprised by this. OJ Mayo stayed in school. Crazy. So this is another problem that you're gonna have next year. Luke Herringold got hurt, stayed in school. Still gonna be a problem next year. Moving on to your second team All-Americans, you got Tyrese Rice. He's not from Portsmouth, he's from Richmond. Then you got Steph Curry, who also chose to stay in school. So we gotta play them. We have to. Shan Foster at the 3. You also have Michael Beasley, and then you have Kevin Love. Your freshman All-Americans are all NBA guys. Jared Bayless from Arizona, OJ Mayo, James Harden, Michael Beasley, Kevin Love. Moving on to conference awards. We can be proud with a regular season conference champs. This is one hell of an improvement. Hopefully hell is not considered a curse word in y'all house. Gotta do it for the kids. But we did our thing. Had a good year. The sim was kind to us. 25-6 ain't bad. That's a solid year for any team, let alone a team that actually went 15-15. Now I'm a rant, all right? Because tell me how. I don't know how long we gonna sit at this screen. Tell me how, though. They went 17-16. They didn't win the conference tournament. Nobody on their squad went crazy. Tell me how. Look at my man, job security. Son, you might get fired. If you have another bad year, you might get fired. So tell me how. Make it make sense to me. If it would have been a Central Connecticut State coach, cool. Mount St. Mary's coach, even. Cool. You got a coach in your conference that went 25-6, won the regular season conference championship, and he's not the coach of the year. And if I'm not mistaken, the coaching grades are not too far off. Try not to yell into the mic, but come on, son. This don't make sense. Make it make sense. Moving on to the conference player of the year, we expected this. Tristan Blackwood wound up getting hurt towards the end of the year. We might have seen a different outcome with the conference championship. I would have liked to see what he would have done in the NCAA tournament, but injuries happen. Conference freshman of the year, I do not care. First team all conference, you got Tristan Blackwood, Anderson, my man Gene, gotta put on for the team. You got Vincent representing for Wagner, and then you have another player from Quinnipiac. We was smacking Quinnipiac, so I don't understand. 2 all conference players, and y'all was getting smacked like that? Second team all conference, you got Mark Porter, your conference leader in assists. You got Baptiste from Fairleigh Dickinson, Manigault representing on the second team, Jackson from Robert Morris. What's up with these last names, man? Y'all know I'm not doing that. Say it to yourselves at home. Try it. And don't cheat. Don't Google it. Try it. I'm not doing that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and highlight a couple coaching changes. Lou Olson said, I'm going to get up out of here. All right? And he left a solid program in his wake. The 85 overall is crazy. That's where you're starting from. And you're starting with NBA guys. You still got Jared Bayless. You got Chase Budinger, Jordan Hill, even though we don't say his name if you're a Knicks fan. You really can't beat that. Bob McKillop decided to leave Steph and Davidson. It's a solid move. Bobby Knight retired. You get a power conference job. You don't know if your star player is going to stay. And you really only have one player versus you can build a whole team. He's a solid coach, solid program. Keep your eyes peeled if you're playing with the original roster. Don't know if y'all remember Jay John? They got him up out of here. Almost cursed. So my man, pack your bags. They had you on the show talking about you on the hot seat. Yeah, so you got to get up out of here. Pac-10 school. The team is okay. It's not horrible. For his conference, it's not good. It's something that you can work with. And last but not least, Northwestern. Their coach got fired as well. You can see by the record, they didn't have a good year. They're in the power conference, which is solid, and they're in a good state. This is a great job. If this was getting offered to me, I would take it. Moving on to our team leaders. Now, this is a bittersweet moment for me. We're going to highlight some of our guys, of course, which is always good. It's also going to remind you of what you're going to lose. We're losing our top scorer and our three-point leader. Gene averaged 16.4 points per game, and he also shot 43% from 3. We're losing that. We have to replace it. It's going to be tough. And to make matters worse, we're losing Kellen Allen as well. He averaged 7.7 rebounds per game. This might not be as difficult, though, because Manigault averaged 7.3 rebounds per game, if I'm not mistaken. So he's not too far off. That block number, we're not even going to talk about it. It's abysmal. That's college hoops for you. Then they also showed some love to Madison. He shot 85% from the line. You can't beat that. You're getting to the line at the clip that he can get to the line, and you're shooting 85%. talent, you're doing your thing. Now, yes, it's gonna be hard to replace what we lost, but that's what recruiting is for. And maybe I'm a little biased, but we ain't do too shabby if you ask me. The number 67 ranked prospect in the country signed. Then we got another top 200 player signed. That's not too bad. We lost out on a prospect, so we got smoked with Richmond. You better believe it. I thought he was coming to LIU, so we got smoked with them. But let's go ahead and take a look around the conference. All 2 stars for Central Connecticut State, trash. I'm gonna sound like Bubba Dub for a little bit. Fairleigh Dickinson, trash. Monmouth, trash. Mount St. Mary's, say it at home, trash. Quinnipiac, I'm not gonna say trash. They actually surprised me a little bit. And the only reason why I'm surprised is because I knew how we was smacking them. They got a 3-star recruit. I can't read. Number 338 in the country. It's not bad. It's letting you know what we're dealing with competition-wise. Robert Morris, trash. And y'all coaches trash. I ain't forget. Sacred Heart. This is like a mixed bag. Their power forward is 380 in the country. They got a lot of 2-stars, but it all depends on what their coach can do with them. Everybody has a rank except the last player. I wouldn't touch these players. Pause. St. Francis, New York didn't do too bad. They got a 3-star center, which is not bad. I'm gonna always try to stay in that range in regards to center. So they did okay. The only problem I got, college hoops got them. They have 4 centers. You wasting scholarships. You only get 13, but maybe they could do something. Maybe they know something I don't know. St. Francis, PA, trash. Wagner, once again, recruiting the same position. Trash. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but my outlook is positive. We got the best recruiting class in our conference, and we also had one of the better recruiting classes amongst mid-majors. We had a solid season, a decent recruiting class. I can't ask for much more, but that brings another episode to a close. That brings this season to a close. It's a wrap. It's over. It's done. No mas, no more. We're finished. Looking forward to seeing y'all for season 2. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Not rhyming on purpose, but I like it. And until the next time, you guys be safe, and I'll catch y'all later, man. I'm out.